Now let's talk the other half of the second learning objective. We started with what organizations can do with social media. Now on to a sampling of new things that it lets users do. So many actions are easier and more accessible to customers, consumers, and other types of opinion leaders. So how do you think social media has changed what users and customers can do? So there's lots of new things we can do. More people able and willing to use more kinds of platforms and tools on more kinds of devices. Many sites literally let users make, post, and share things in new ways. Consider how Pinterest lets you save images and links to create scrapbooks and boards to view, display, and share. Sites like DeviantArt or Instagram allow artists to upload fan art for others to see and comment on. More tools allow you to more easily build your audience and earn money, right down to adding those call to action buttons. Lots of new ways again to connect with each other across time and space. So for many, you only need a data connection. Consider how this very class can come together from far away and with often varying schedules. Lets us connect across locations. Likewise, some help by being able to use location data in terms of actually being in close proximity. Social media lets people find each other better. For just the right keywords, you can find people. For example, in your immediate work or school, you may be one of the few people that likes a certain breed of dog or a certain book. Over the course of the day, it doesn't easily come up in conversation either. With the internet, it's easier for Airedale Terrier fanciers to find each other, or for those who really want to discuss the British royal family. And we see this a lot with things like Kickstarter applicants that want to find their new market, and the internet lets them more easily find them across time and space. So archives, a lot of social media platforms and internet do allow content to remain up for a long time, letting people search and see old content and communications. Next, speed at which we can share things. Just a click. Now it's out there and searchable by search engines. It's now a matter more of a person sorting through all the mountains of content. Likewise, how widely we can share things. Anyone with the internet, with more kinds of platforms and devices, and we in fact continue to develop ways to organize that content and material. So for example, hashtags are very popular for categorizing events and ideas. And in particular, we continue to have stronger search engines and algorithms that make it more easy to effectively find what's been widely shared. And of course, new ways to communicate. We really take it for granted that near instantaneous communication that can be one-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many. There's no more yelling in a town square or going through a traditional media channel. You have more options. More ways, especially to organize and sort across multiple channels and multiple conversations. And social media lets us handle so many types of participatory projects now. So think open source. So there are plenty of ethical challenges in situations where platforms can go offline, planned or not, or descend into places that stoke the worst parts of us. But still, to sum up, there are many new things social media lets users do. And here's that chart again about the many actions users can and do take. And this old chart shows how much we tend to think about the variation of ways we can communicate or express ourselves through different platforms, via cats in this case. A major new aspect, though, of social media is the way it gives anyone with an internet connection more routes to listen to others and share with audiences than when only traditional channels were available. This one is the classic United Breaks Guitars, and this was an example of protesting corporate policies. Before United Airlines was in the news for dragging paying customer off an overbooked flight, they were the target of a parody song, United Breaks Guitars. Singer Dave Carroll created the song to respond on United's damaged items policy. Also, I don't know what the story is behind all these costume choices. Anyway, in sum, social media gives customers easier access to many other people. This can be a very bad thing for you if the message they want to send is about how poorly you treated them as a customer. So, what's the key reason we care about consumers being more empowered to say or share through digital platforms? Well, word of mouth. Word of mouth is naturally occurring discussion of things like brands and consumption activities. Consumers talk about dozens of brands daily, and this includes organizational buyers B2B. You yourselves likely enjoy talking shop and chat about your organization. What are the newest trends or ideas? What is the core issue facing the department or a particular customer, maybe? So you can consider what you yourself talk about day to day. So while word of mouth can come from anyone, tastemakers can especially boost the spread of ideas. Word of mouth tends to favor what's memorable or interesting, and this can be positive or negative things alike. Granted, negative things are especially catchy. Consider if someone shares a bad brand experience, or even it's just a joke at the expense of a company that made a terrible ad. Bad, negative things tend to spread. So to sum up, word of mouth dynamics are very significant to our promotion strategies. So this TED Talk, if you're interested, by Dao Nguyen, discusses why it's important to trace what the content does for a user. And this TED Talk by Kevin Aloka talked about gauging the pass-along potential of content. So what is more likely to be actually shared and recommended? So we have things like relational utility. Is there a point to the content worth sharing with friends? Will they think better of you for receiving it? Does it have to share a common viewpoint on topical theme? In some, for a network of friends, does it have instrumental value? And of course, likability. Is it fun, engaging, novel, cute? Is the sender confident that the recipient will enjoy it? Does it have expressive value? So the items discussed in the last two TED Talks should seem familiar because they overlap with Berger's suggested steps model that we covered in the last couple of weeks. And you'll notice how a large part of what makes something go viral is not a top-down process, but rather something that makes it resonate, perhaps through surprise or humor, and easier for a large group of people to participate, to get involved. An outgrowth to amplifying voices is that social media and other digital media platforms makes it simpler for different people to gain larger followings and cultivate relationships. Thanks to what's called the megaphone effect, we have more kinds of opinion leaders because these sites allow more kinds of people to gain larger audiences without the need of those traditional channels. So we see more direct content creators who post and respond to audiences. We further see people in the community who answer questions and regularly comment in the forum, all of them with the potential to build connection and trust with other users. We therefore see lots of influencer marketing. Influencers are purported experts or exert social influence in a field. Influencer marketing strategies that for us include identifying and recruiting these types of opinion leaders to help market your brand. They produce content, say via endorsements, product placement, that type of thing, and engage with followers in ways that market your brand alongside their own. So examples, YouTuber Mr. Beast, known for stunts and challenges, and this person, Virat Kohli, famous Indian cricket athlete, are both sought by brands. All the examples in the word of mouth slide would count. Some start small and grow. Others gained their reputation through another domain and then crossed over to more. And so there's a huge swath of video types that you can imagine, including how-tos, like watching influencers make clothing modifications, shoe or tech reviews, unboxing reviews, many which you've likely watched. And so influencer marketing more closely mimics personal relationships in terms of proximity, closeness, and interactivity. And this lets influencers build a very different kind of trust as opinion leaders than what traditional big mega brands can do. Firms therefore, of course, engage in these partnerships or agreements with influencers through offering them money, information, samples, and services. Likewise, the influencers need to have a certain audience size, and engagement rate. The influencer may be asked to make the sponsorship content, and then the brand approves it. And so you'll see many platforms and sites their business is connecting brands and influencers together. So as an activity, consider what types of opinion leaders that you follow and that you rely on from these less traditional channels. Perhaps a friend or someone that your friend follows on Facebook who tends to post interesting news links on their newsfeed. Perhaps a movie reviewer from Rotten Tomatoes that's not in your home paper but easy to access via a different site. Perhaps a video game Let's Player where you find interesting video games to play. So to sum up, social media has given marketers new opportunities to reach out and identify opinion leaders, just as how social media has also allowed these opinion leaders to gain their following. And so user action on social media strongly affects how ideas are used, built up, and shared. What goes viral does require all of us. And this isn't exactly new. We've had plenty of pre-internet memes, such as calling McDonald's Mickey D's or mocking car brands. So things like Ford Exploder or Ford Explorer, or Ford standing for Found Off-Road Dead. So today's digital tools just makes it easier to make, spread, and find these. So consider hashtags. A pound symbol with a set of letters, numbers, or words that acts like a searchable link. You click on it and it'll show you everyone who else has tagged their post with the same hashtag, for example. People can tag their post to help people find their post and contribute to a larger conversation. They tend to capture a set of events, ideas, and emotions all in that one point. And so you can imagine how some more topic related, hashtag Olympics 2020, or hashtag Pray for Mexico when there were the earthquakes in September 2017. And notice though, many do convey emotions. So I think hashtag Let's Go Dodgers and hashtag I Bleed Blue were popular during the World Series for Dodgers fans. Marketers may tweet to hashtags or try to encourage the use of hashtags as part of their campaigns. And so in this picture here, hashtag MyDunkin' was by Dunkin' Donuts to encourage people to post their pictures and stories to social media. You can imagine this encourages deepened commitment by those who participate and can lead to user-generated content, UGC, that resonates better with the Dunkin' Donuts audiences. And memes are very memorable ideas. They're easy to make minor changes, but they still resonate with people. So effectively, family or workplace in-jokes are examples of in-group memes in a way. So memes are content that's more likely to be passed on because they're easy for the user to consume and send along to others. They smooth out that pathway for you. If you want to know, the website Know Your Meme has a huge collection. Here's an example how marketers might use existing memes. This one capitalized on the meme that places the two pictures side by side and the caption, "You versus the guy she tells you not to worry about." This originally showed two characters from a love triangle in The Office. It took off to include the less desirable option again to the left and the more desirable option to the right. In this case, Jimmy Johns decided to get in on it. But you gotta be careful not to overstep either. Folks don't appreciate marketer intrusion if they missed a joke. So the Steve Buscemi 30 Rock clip had him, a rather middle-aged looking person with a backwards cap, skateboard and saying, "How do you do, fellow kids?" as a way to show that his attempt to blend in with the teenagers is laughably ineffective. This clip went viral and mimetic. It inspired more people to show it whenever an outsider, usually older or corporate, try to get in with a usually younger, cooler group. This image shows that the meme came full circle in a way where Bagel Bites marketers conveys authenticity by giving a winking nod that they're out of step with that target market, but they know it. So to sum up, just examples of ways online and digital tools make it easier than ever to make meaningful stories or ideas and pass it on. I have more examples in the notes for different meme and hashtag examples and general guidance, usually boiling down to know your audience. Here's a source that tracks hashtag by maps, plenty more aggregators out there to see what's trending. So moving on to speed, social media is very fast and flexible. Many Super Bowls ago, the lights went out during the game. Within minutes, Oreo had made ad copy, approved it, and tweeted it. It was very well received, and the good publicity continued long after the game was done. The blackout, in fact, lasted only 34 minutes. Granted, though, this article has interesting post about who exactly this tweet went viral with. Here's an example where speed and access do require diligence. Just as we need to be careful with our own personal social media posts, so too must firms. In 2011, hashtag Cairo was trending due to a popular uprising in Egypt that was calling for then Egyptian President Mubarak to step down. There was violence and people died when security forces were brought in. Kenneth Cole instead posted, "Millions are in uproar in hashtag Cairo. Rumors that they heard our new spring collection is now available online." Hashtag Cairo was probably one of the many hashtags that concerned people were using to get information from what was going on. They were not anticipating such a commercial message. And then in 2018, Elon Musk posted this tweet to his verified account that Tesla could go private, causing extensive stockholder activity. It may not be the official Tesla account, but Elon Musk was seen as representing the company. And this continues today, especially if companies tweet too fast or forget to check what scheduled posts they had. So remember, watch what you say. You represent companies and you represent your own personal brand. So we see two-way and multi-way interactions quite often between brands and customers. And you don't want to just post the same ads or press releases. You can take advantage of how you can be more responsive and interactive. So social media allows a new space for users to ask questions, complain, and share their love or hate of their brand or for the brand. You can see how a site can encourage connecting across people and making conversations between public figures and more regular users, and to make that more personal. In this example, you can connect on or across accounts by directly posting, sharing a post such as retweeting, using hashtags, and using the @mentions. And finally, it's helpful to be there in unexpected ways. This is an early example where Taco Bell took up a fan's joke and sent him a Speedo. There's, of course, Wendy's giving a year's supply of chicken nuggets for a poster's valiant attempt at getting a record number of retweets. And what we're seeing is lots more ways platforms continue to facilitate connection between users and we'll call personas or public figures. There's lots more ways it's live, interactive, and personalized. Many more models such as membership and subscription models. And let's take that next step. Virtual worlds. The Metaverse are shared, immersive, persistent 3D virtual spaces that are allowing new kinds of connections between customers and organizations. Accenture here found people interested in joining the Metaverse want to connect, save time, access services, and complete tasks. And as you see with these numbers, there's lots of hope and money flowing in. The past slide were more serious, but virtual worlds still have strong roots in virtual game worlds and internet culture. So despite company Meta trying to position itself as the metaverse, spaces like Fortnite and Roblox have been very successful, especially toward brand activation, our buzzword to build awareness, connections, and engagements. So examples here and more examples in the notes, including a chunky report from McKinsey. Plenty of examples to explore out there. And at the heart of whatever you do, make sure it's building your brand, whether awareness, connection, or engagement. We see plenty of dynamic content marketing through platforms. Brands can do it with users. Brands can do it among themselves as well, like over here. Notice how each of these posts suggests their product and brand personality. So to sum up, we have more platforms than ever to support conversation and connection. Now we have to give character to our brands and experiences we facilitate. But let's come full circle. All those interactions makes us vulnerable to whatever people want to do or talk about, say, hiding and deleting things isn't terribly effective these days. So in this example, Sesame Street asks, which Sesame Street friend would you want with you on a deserted island? Well, responses range from dismissive to humorous to long, honest debate. Many people drew value from these conversations, whatever their motives. But to what end for you? After all, one of the conversations talked about which friend was likely to be the tastiest. And it's helpful to have procedures in place for unexpected opportunities or threats. Social media tools are especially sensitive to that timing. So this article by AMA talks about a potent form of threat, the proverbial social media firestorms that can take place when people are negatively responding to your brand and your team's actions. So the USA Today coverage is an example of two organizations that are not direct competitors like Wendy's teasing McDonald's, but more along the lines of two separate organizations both vying for better word of mouth. So this picture looks to be from Butterfinger and the Chicago Bears Twitter teams. Or was it? You will also want to plan for doppelgangers, a doppelganger meaning a double of you, sometimes a proverbial evil twin. Basically, it's super easy for there to be communication or things out there that people think is you or are from you. Because after all, there's all sorts of editing and creation tools like Photoshop and generative AI. And effectively, it's easy for stories to get changed every time they're told. On top of that, people often won't verify things. They'll just trust what feels right. So for example, Butterfinger here did not actually post this jab at Tom Brady, who had dropped the ball. The humor centers on a play on words that Butterfingers can refer to the candy bar, and an idiom for someone who drops things like very important passes. It resonated with a lot of people. However, they soon saw it wasn't on the Butterfinger account and were miffed that it seemed like Butterfinger had deleted the post. I know when I first saw it, I thought Butterfinger was one of the many brands that were simply trying to be a snarkier voice like Wendy's and hadn't initially questioned it. So Butterfinger now has to figure out a way to respond to this. So to sum up, monitor your touch points. You have real ones that you can control. But there are plenty of touch points people will treat as from you, even if it's not you. You'll want to have plans for responding to issues like these. So as a little wrap up to this section, start considering your action plan. Have an idea for who is responsible for creating content, who will respond to others, who will monitor the sites, who will monitor conditions, and beyond. When, what will be the timing of your different communications? What indicators? A particular day after a particular event or issue? Why? What outcomes do you want to see? How will you know it's working? And what indicators especially will you monitor to see if it's working? So these are just a few examples from a quick Google search. Lots more examples being posted all the time. Notice some ones like reach are good across all platforms. Some metrics you'll want to search for the specific platform and tool. So there will be some differences between short form video on TikTok versus a video clip on a microblogging site. So in our next section, we'll wrap up by talking a few implications of our new media landscape. Hope you're doing okay and taking care out there.